like getting sick? I'll bet not. Me neither. Did you know that there's a way to prevent getting most illnesses? That's vaccination. You should vaccinate yourself and your family because they stop the spread of harmful diseases, offer protection from serious illnesses, and are readily available to the public. Vaccinating yourself and your child is extremely crucial to public health because they stop the spread of harmful diseases. How vaccinations work is basically you get a shot of a weakened pathogen so your body can fight off whatever you're getting immunized for. This builds up an immunity to the illness when you're exposed to it indefinitely at a later date. Vaccinating yourself and your family is important because it can protect your community from disease and illness. Maybe it's your neighbor who has cancer and can't get certain vaccines, or maybe it's your best friend's newborn baby that's too young to be fully vaccinated. Today, arguments have arisen that vaccines can be harmful or even cause autism. Hipster mothers in the millennial generation are boycotting vaccines with such ludicrous claims. There are consequences for the counterculture anti-vaxxers. If one parent's not for vaccinating their child, that's their choice. However, if that's the case, their child could then become the breeding ground for an epidemic of chickenpox or influenza, spreading around a school before anyone noticed what has happened. These children should not be punished for a parent's inaptitude. Unfortunately, not all parents are going to decide to protect their child against harmful diseases. This is a given. However, if you do decide to vaccinate your child, you're already giving them an enormous advantage in life and a guaranteed protection against things that could be so easily prevented. While illnesses like chickenpox aren't always fatal, they are downright miserable. Try to recall hearing about people that had chickenpox. These symptoms are almost unbearable. Constant scratching at the skin for relief that finally came after a week. But alas, now the shingles virus dwells in their body, waiting to flare when they're in their 50s and 60s. Another really important reason vaccinations are important is that they offer protection from some really scary illnesses. Polio was pretty prevalent in the early 1900s. You may remember that President Franklin Roosevelt had it. It was pretty well eradicated since then, thankfully. You don't hear much about polio anymore, but if this trend with parents deciding not to vaccinate themselves and their children continues, we'll see a rise of dead diseases like diphtheria and smallpox. And what for? Just because you heard a rumor that getting a shot to protect you from a deadly disease could cause autism or a bad breakout is a senseless thought. Vaccines need to be mandatory so that children ignorant of the harm that serious illnesses can bring them can be protected against them. So let's ask ourselves, what's the harm in not vaccinating? The answer is simple. Many children die of preventable diseases every year: pneumonia, meningitis, illnesses of the like, all of which are preventable to a high degree. Some pose the question, are vaccine preventable diseases even that bad? The answer is yes. Such illnesses like HPV are fatal and 100% preventable. No disease is too remote to do a person harm. While it's unfair that children do not have the knowledge or choice of vaccines, adults do. It's the same story over and over. It goes something like, adult that's sick and doesn't want to miss work, then selfishly shows up anyway. People all over the world get sick and even die just because of a few people's decision not to vaccinate themselves. There are laws in place for schools and universities so that their students are not at risk of infection. I believe that all of America should have similar rules, workplaces included. The final reason I believe that vaccines should be made mandatory everywhere is that they're readily available to the public. People do understand the hardships of paying bills while not making enough money. Many public schools offer immunization nights where they have a mini clinic set up and parents pay a small fee to get their child vaccinated for influenza or tetanus. This is a cheap and easy way to get your child vaccinated. There are also public health departments that offer mandatory immunizations for little to no money, even for the uninsured. There's a program called the Vaccination for Children program, which provides discounted or free vaccinations for children who might otherwise not have access to these immunizations. A person's health shouldn't be compromised because of a lack of money, so that's why programs like this exist. So in summary, vaccination is crucial. So why should vaccines be mandatory for everyone? Well, because they prevent the spread of harmful diseases, offer protection from serious illnesses, and are easily accessible to the public. Vaccination can prevent many serious illnesses Remember that your actions or lack thereof could be what saves your child or those in your community. It's that important. Weigh out the scientific proof of working vaccines versus myths of harmful side effects. That being said, take heed when deciding to vaccinate yourself, your child, and your family.